of the country. And yeah, so it is an interesting place to visit. Most people don't even know about it until they get there. The standard of living is very high, and the prices also reflect that. So one of the most expensive cities you can visit for sure. Well, I don't think they are as expensive if you compare it to Scandinavian countries like Norway and Sweden or Denmark, but pretty much getting there. Some of the things are cheaper because of the taxation, and some of the things are more expensive. The country's state is actually is a duchy. It's the only duchy in the world. Duchy is ruled by the Dutch, the Duke. And so the Duke of the country is the head of state. And he's one of the richest men on the planet. His net worth about $4 billion. So he's living a good life, more or less. And his palace is inside Luxembourg city, but they actually, I believe they have also another kind of castle palace outside, Brandenburg Castle, it's called, I think, outside of the city. I'm not sure if he's staying in or not, because some parts of the year they are on vacation, because probably working really hard, or not. But who cares when you have $4 billion, right? So he's the head of state, and just a bit of history to understand the position of this country here in between all these great nations, small one. So going back in history, about the 10th century, Count Siegfried got this land, which they call the Rock, which is the city built upon, later on becoming a very important fortress between two big nations. You have between Germany and France, and so the wars between France and Germany always wanted to capture the city because it is a strategic location, and because of that, throughout the centuries, it was always fortified and ruled by different people. So it was once part of the German Empire, and then later on also becoming part, and Napoleon it was part of the French Empire, and also at one point before that was part of the Spanish Habsburg monarchy. Okay, so the Spanish Habsburgs ruled also the Netherlands. We will learn about that once we get to the Netherlands, but this history behind it, so many influence from these different times, but basically it was always just a fortress, not really a nation or something like that. In also the First World War, it was occupied by the Germans, and also in the Second World War, and later on liberated. So in that time, the Duchess was the leader of the country. At that time of the Second World War, she escaped from the Germans, and then she actually got refuge in Portugal. So also because of that, the relations between Portugal and Luxembourg very strong. So you have about more than 50,000 Portuguese people who live in Luxembourg. So half of the population of Luxembourg is actually foreigner. So they're not Luxembourgish, but from different places. Also during the daytime, population goes up. In the weekdays, population rises, because a lot of people who actually work inside the city of Luxembourg, they don't live there. So they just come to work here because of the good salary, and then go back home to France or Germany, or even to Belgium. So a lot of main produce here is financial institutions. Okay, so nothing there's not much they produce here in terms of goods or products, but mainly it is a place, as I said earlier, of money, right? So there are more than 100 banks in the city of Luxembourg. So that doesn't mean they have hundreds of buildings for banks, but mostly they're kind of like offices, right? So there is an old part of the city and there is a new part of the city which makes up Luxembourg. The old town is built where the fortress was located. Of course, most of these walls, which were built back in the day when they were needed, they are destroyed. So only a portion of what it used to be remains. Once we get to Luxembourg, I'm going to walk you through some parts. We're going to start walking at the cathedral, Notre Dame de Luxembourg. We're going to start from there, and then we walk to see part of the old town and see how the structure is of the old city. Because it's built on a rock, it's a high elevation, and in between two parts of the city there is actually a valley. Also have buildings there, one of the oldest parts, but you get to see how it looks like from one of the nice viewing terraces, I would call it. So there we go, and then we're going to take some photos, and then after that we'll take you also to visit the area of the palace of the Duke of Luxembourg, Duke Henry. And then from there we walk to the town center, which is a square, main square, where you have all the main things like shops, restaurants, and this area is normally used for public activities like festivities throughout the summer. And actually, if you live in Luxembourg, it's very good for you as a resident, because they have long 5 weeks paid holiday. 5 weeks. Not bad, eh? So that's something to enjoy here. And also they have like about 16 public holidays. So throughout the year, many weekends, is always Christmas. Yeah. So this is a very special place with lots of different groups, ethnicities that you will find, and also reflect on the cuisine, the food they have here. So they have all kinds of restaurants. You can have food, French style, Italian style, Mexican, Portuguese, Spanish, whatever you can imagine is there. Okay, so these are the main things here. Also, one of the things that people like here is the beer. Beer is something, if you like to try, I can recommend. Some of the places offer really good quality beers. And so that is one of the things for the local cuisine to enjoy. Also here in Luxembourg, it's not like Belgium, but also some of the famous stores, pastries are very good, also chocolate. Okay, so pastries and chocolate. Also they have low tax, a very low tax on alcohol and tobacco products. So for that reason, many locals from the area outside of Luxembourg come here to buy those things, because in European Union, the rest of the countries have much higher taxes for that. But also they're using the currency here, the euros. Okay, so you have the euro currency used by the locals, and I would say pretty much you would need to spend about minimum 30 euros for just a basic meal here, unless you're eating in a restaurant like fast food. Fast food is cheaper, but also if you want to have the world's most expensive Big Mac is here, more than 8 euros. So we can see compared to other places, but yeah, in Luxembourg you have one of the most expensive dining experiences for sure. But that also means very good quality normally. Well, in fact, McDonald's is not really the thing. But anyway, so eating out is very good, but expensive. But you guys can check not all the places are Michelin star, so you can find just regular places, Asian food and so on. So they have Chinese restaurants, Japanese, ramen, whatever you like, sushi, different quality and different price range. So actually most of the things are located in the same square mile. So you don't need to go far anywhere in the city center, because after walking 10 minutes straight you are already outside. So the main area where you will see all the people, now it's going to be probably very busy. There is also many tourists coming, tour groups just like ourselves, coming into Luxembourg for like a couple hours day trip to check out the city. But normally, if you are a European, European people would just spend a night over, and in one day you can see everything you want to see in the city. Alright, so this is the main things about Luxembourg. Also tomorrow, is an important thing. Tomorrow we're going to spend our lunch in the city Koblenz. Koblenz is a famous city located on the river Rhine. River Rhine is one of the main principal rivers of the of Germany and of Europe. So River Rhine, the bank of the River Rhine, we're going to spend our nice lunch in a historic area called the German Corner. So in this place you have a few restaurants, and normally I organize a group lunch here. If anybody is interested in joining, then I will sign you up for it. I wanted to explain about what the lunch is about, okay? So this is just an option here. So if you're not really feeling like having the food, like German style food, then I can recommend other places around. So normally we do this